Hey students, in this video I'm going to go over part 2 of the video of Introduction to Matrices and Row Operations. So this is just row operations now that you know how to write matrices. So the three things that you could do to the rows is you could row swap them, you could multiply to get different values, or you could add. So these are examples of row operations for you to manipulate and change values as needed in the next methods that we have. For example, this says swap row 1 and row 3. So this is the original matrix, and row 1 is the top, row 3 is the bottom, and they're going to swap. So now this goes to the top, this goes to the bottom, and the middle row stays the same. So this is just a simple example of swapping rows. Then you have scalar multiplication, which is where you choose a row to multiply to a certain number that you need to for some reason, mathematical purposes. In this case, we have -3 times row 3. So this being row 3, we're going to multiply times -3. So it's like distributing. Each number in here will be multiplied times -3. And the resulting answer will be there. So -3 times 2 is -6. -3 times 5, -15, -3 times 4, -12, and -3 times 16 is -48. So this is the new version of the matrix after you multiplied row 3 times -3. Another example of manipulating the matrices, you have addition. So you're going to write down, or you're going to see a command that tells you to add certain rows and then replace the certain row given with the answer. So for example, here it says add row 2 and row 3. And we're going to add downwards. So these two numbers give you an answer, these two numbers give you an answer, and so on. But it says replace row 2. So that means that the top, the row 1, needs to be written down exactly the way it is. And then the row 3 needs to be written exactly the way it is right now. And the only one that changes values is row 2. So 6 minus 6 is 0. 3 minus 15 is -12. 2 minus 12 is -10. And 14 minus 48 is -34. So you don't understand yet why we're doing it, but again, today's video or practice is just to learn how to manipulate and change matrices so you can use them on the next notes. All right, so here are the examples to practice with. We have the direction of performing row 1 plus row 2, and we're going to replace row 2. So the fact that we're replacing row 2 means only that row is going to change. So we copy down row 1 and row 3 exactly the way they are. And the new numbers that go here are going to be the answers to adding row 1 plus row 2. So -1 plus 1 is 0. -1 plus 3 is +2. 2 plus 5 is 7. And -1 plus 3 is +2. So this is an example of the new matrix after you perform that row operation. The next example says to multiply row 1 times 2, and afterwards you're going to add it to row 2. And the answer to all that will replace row 2. So only row 2 will be replaced. That means that row 1 needs to be copied down exactly the same way it is. Row 3 needs to be copied down exactly the same way it is. And the answers that go here come out after you add these. But first, multiply row 1 times 2, get new numbers, and then whatever answers those are, you're going to add them to row 2. So let's look at row 1. And according to the action, we are going to multiply these numbers times 2. So we're going to distribute, 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 and distribute. So I'm just going to write the new numbers down here. We're going to write 2 times -2, which is -4. 2 times -4, which is -8. 2 times 4, which is +8. And 2 times 14, which is 28. So this is the new row 1. after we multiply it times 2. And we're going to add that to row 2. So we're going to be adding these numbers. And the answer to that will go in this space, because that's row 2. So negative 4 plus 4 is 0. 2 plus negative 8 is negative 6. 4 plus 8 is 12. Negative 4 plus 28 is 24. So that's the new version of the matrix after this row operation was performed. Okay, now go ahead and practice. Hope this video helps you.